Hello and welcome to the International Pentagon Challenge. My name is Kyanite and together we'll be embarking on a very special Football Manager journey where we'll aim to try and win every major international competition in all 5 continents, forcing our hand to play with hundreds of different types of players and most importantly hopefully create loads of awesome different types of tactics along the way. Once that's complete, only then are we allowed to set our sights on the biggest of all goals, the FIFA World Cup. How many nations will we have to manage until we work our way to the top? How many dodgy names will we have to pronounce along the way? So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hopefully we're going to have a lot of fun along the way. Alright, hello and welcome to episode 47 of the International Pentagon Challenge. It's our first final. It's probably the biggest game we've managed so far as part of this Pentagon Challenge, which is going to become a Hexagon Challenge because I didn't really realise that New Zealand weren't in the Asian Cup. But we'll not worry about that for now, and we'll try to focus our attention on the fact that we are just one win, one match away from defeating the Asian continent. So just to clarify, the International Pentagon Challenge, the idea is for us to basically manage only international teams and conquer every single continent by winning the main, large nation tournament within each continent. And as far as Asia is concerned, there is no doubt that the Asian Cup is the biggest international tournament in Asia. If we manage to win against Uzbekistan in the 2027 Asian Cup final, it means that we will probably resign from our position after getting the nice tasty rep boost after becoming champions and look for a job maybe in Europe, maybe in one of the Americas or Oceania or Africa or somewhere like that, and look to then go on to conquer that continent. So without further ado, let's just remind ourselves exactly how we got here. So as we can see, the Asian Cup started marvellously for us, 8-0 win against Palestine, and then things went pear-shaped against China and Uzbekistan in our groups, which really, on paper, shouldn't be that strong sides, even though China made the last World Cup on this game. We then beat powerhouses in Iran and Saudi. Sure, the results weren't entirely convincing, but what was important was that we still got across the finishing line, and when you beat the likes of Iran and Saudi, it really makes those kind of early group games look somewhat baffling. And yeah, we got revenge against China in the last episode in the semi-final, and to really rub salt in the wounds, they got a red card as well, which was really quite nice. But massive game for us to now get revenge for the point against Uzbekistan in our group match. If we look at the match stats, the first time round, yes, they had the one clear-cut chance of the game, but really, we were the better team. And I feel, given that we've already played them, we're now ever so slightly better equipped to defeat them in the final. So tactically, the question is, how do they play? Well, very similar to China. If you watched the last episode, if you haven't, go back and watch it. 4-4-2, direct, fast-paced wingers, looking to get that ball wide, and try and hit us on the counter-attack. We're going to be Japan. We're going to see loads of the ball. But the same way we kind of tweaked away from our 5-3-2 in the last match against China to try and kind of exploit certain weaknesses I felt we could exploit with some of the strengths in our side, we are going to do the exact same thing with Uzbekistan. However, instead of going to a 4-1-2-1-2 diamond, we're actually going to more of a 4-1-3-2 or 4-4-2 when the ball winning midfielder pushes forwards. Now, very similar concepts to what we saw in the semi-final, where the idea was to try and shut shop down the wings, and we wanted to create the diamond to give us that extra person centrally. What I'm going to be looking to do in this match is actually play with wide players, because I do actually feel like while China had the one killer winger on the right hand side, Uzbekistan's game plan is all about the wingers, and especially the big tall ginger guy they've got on the right hand side, if you remember him from when we played in the group stages. So I feel like it's going to help us out a little bit more to man mark them and have wide players ourselves, but also because defensively their fullbacks aren't the strongest, and they have a 32-year-old left back who, even though he was their man of the match the first time round we played against them, I think we kind of played it into his hands. So now the idea is get our, well, I think he's our best player in Uchida, valued at 47.5 million quid, plays for Real Madrid. That should really say it all. To play down the right wing for us, utilise his physical attributes. Han Fyong-il, who had a very good game against China, will be ready to rumble on the overlap as well. Really try and solidify up down our left-hand side to shut off their main winger, but also try, and get as much pressure applied down the right-hand side as possible. And that's also why we're going to go with two wingers to start things off. Very risky way of playing, but I feel like we should be able to assert our dominance because we are the better side. We have the better players. If we can get a nice early goal and put Uzbekistan on the back foot, getting 2 early goals going into, the last 15 minutes of the first half, which is when they tend to concede most of their goals, then we're laughing. We just basically need to make sure that we take our chances up front, which we didn't do in the group match. Okay, here we go then. So one change from what you guys just saw in the last screen. Kurokawa actually comes in as a deep line playmaker on defend rather than ball winning midfielder, because it just felt like we had too many people on 80 conditioning. It's that simple in midfield, so if I need to make a substitution later on, I always can do. Exact same, more or less, Uzbekistani side that played against us in the group stages. We've got to be careful from Tushpolatov. He's a big, massive, ginger guy, beast, whatever you want to call him. And Kaksramonov was causing us all sorts of problems. I think he's actually a real player as well, 30 years old. And I think he might actually have the most goals at the Asian Cup so far. I'm not really quite sure. I do remember seeing him up there at one point. But yeah, that's it. So we're trying to match him 4-4-2. And we're going to come out all guns a-blazing, try and take advantage of Komilov, who, as we can see, is relatively pacey, but isn't the best from an acceleration perspective. And he is getting on a little bit, and I just do feel like we could potentially take advantage of that early on. So let's do this. So no messing around, assertively, expect nothing but a win, and of course basically set our man marking on our wingers. It's going to be so important that we keep the Uzbekistani wingers quiet. In terms of instructions, we are playing with a high line. We are playing a little bit more direct. I've told the lads to try exploiting that right flank more. And of course, as always, this is a grand final, for God's sake. Anything could happen, and it's going to be quite a significant tactical battle between myself and the Uzbekistani manager. But again, I do feel like if we can stretch the pitch, if we can play and utilise the perks that we have, particularly down that right-hand side, and the pace that we have, and what we can look to exploit given their weaknesses, I really do feel like if some of our players bother to show up, which to be fair isn't really what they did in the group stages, we should be able to assert our dominance nice and early on, and hopefully that is what will happen. Apologies if, my own volume levels aren't really great. People are asleep in my house at the moment. It's quite late. I'm going to be up pretty late editing this video because I've been quite busy recently. But I still want to get this out for the Friday because it's such a massive game for us. So Komilov on the ball is going to find Shukurov, and straight away we're going to look to do exactly what we came to do. Long ball forwards, exploiting the space behind the Uzbekistani left back. And there we have it, ladies and gents. There we have it. Seki. What a time to score for him. Now, we've got to stay cool, calm and collected, right? We're only 10 minutes into the match, but it's really, really satisfying to see. We discussed what we wanted to do, what my gut feeling told me to do. We applied it on the pitch and we reaped the benefits. But we've got to be careful now because, of course, Uzbekistan will start throwing more men forwards. That's a great save from Honda, but our defence really does need to wake up. Might not necessarily be too bad of an idea, try and tone things down a little bit, rather than playing with two poachers, maybe change Thingy on the right hand side, I can't remember his name, back to a complete forward, and you know, just look to retain possession a little bit more, unless we can grab a second. So Uchida, ball forwards behind Komilov, can we pick it up? The answer is no, but our defenders are awake. Great ball to Seki, whips the ball into the back post, and Uchida should have made it 2 there. So unlucky there from Uchida. Not really felt the need to change things yet. We did have a bit of a small scare when Uzbekistan obviously had that header, but so far it's been on comprehensive highlights, and in a matter of minutes we're 1-0 up. We've not really seen much. Seki has to finish now, and ladies and gents, there we have it. Cometh the hour, cometh the man from West Brom, from the East Midlands. Or are they the West Midlands? I mean, they're called West Brom. No, yeah, West Midlands, because they're like rivals with Wolves, aren't they? Anyways, my geography is shit. If you've been watching this series and my Blackburn Rovers series from last year long enough, you'll be more than aware of that. So there we go. That's exactly what we wanted. Absolutely buzzing. Oh my god, I've just realised that Siri on my phone is on. Like, can you guys see that? Oh, Siri thinks I'm talking to it. So like every time I talk, can you guys see that? It's like trying to understand what I'm saying. That is the weirdest thing. Right, okay. So we're going to go to control. We've dropped Takasaki down. We're going to look to retain possession as well. Drop our tempo down. Actually, no, we'll keep it higher tempo. We're the better side. So, you know, we won't make too many changes. Uchida's looking a little bit knackered, so we'll drop him down to support. And that's it. That's it. As the second half comes into play, we are obviously going to have to take off some of the lads who are just completely cream crackered and bring on some fresh legs. And we might then move to 5 in midfield. That should hopefully give us that extra man centrally and help us hold on to the ball a little bit better. It has been a bit of a revelation changing away from the 5-3-2. Even though I don't really feel like we played... Oh, go on. Yes! Hat-trick for Seki. He's an assassin in front of the goal. And we are going to make Asia the first continent we conquer within the International Pentagon Challenge. So there we go, 3-0. As always, we'll drop things down to key highlights now. Oops. Hello, Honda. And, yeah, that is it. Buzzing. I didn't think I'd see the day where I'd have to drop down from comprehensive to key highlights before the first half even finished. But what a match they've chosen to just pull this off with. But yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like we really ever played poorly, you know, when we were playing with the 5-3-2. It just basically seemed like the two lads up front never seemed to finish their chances, especially in the group stage matches against China and Uzbekistan, if you go back and watch them. But anyways, Uchida has done a marvellous job so far today, so for that reason I think he deserves to come off. It's just a case of who we really replace him with. Don't really feel like we need to change it round tactically because, to be fair, it's been working. So I think Kawano will come on as a winger down this right-hand side. And we could maybe take Nagayama off, but I can't really be bothered making another substitution just yet. Kawano is a fullback by trade who can play basically anywhere down the right wing. So that extra bit of defensive quality that he gives us into the side will obviously help us as well. So 60th minute approaching. Time to bring on a replacement for Nagayama in the middle of the pitch, and it is going to be Nagata more as a carrilero. And I think we can afford one more substitution, which can be for Kuda, who's again another of these fullbacks that can play down the wings and whatnot. Will give us a little bit more defensively, and hopefully we'll be able to see the game out fine, unless Uzbekistan go Super Saiyan and somehow manage a comeback. But yeah, I think coming out the group stages, the fact that we had those disappointing results, personally, I kind of felt like if we got... Oh, go on, finish. Yeah. I personally felt like if we got one of the big boys, that we had the ability to beat them on the day, because we didn't play poorly against Uzbekistan and China. It just, at the same time, it just felt like we were being FM to an extent, because we were playing well, because we were playing okay, but our strikers just weren't finding the back of the net. So to see the way we've turned it around, we were 2-0 up at one point against Iran. It looked like we were going to continue, you know, our dodgy as heck form. Are we going to make it 5? We are. Our dodgy as heck form. And, you know, bottle it after being 2-0 up. But we somehow got through without it going to penalties. A lucky 1-0 win against the Saudis. And here we are, guys. 5-0 in the grand final of the 2027 Asian Cup. Seki, with not 1, not 2, but 4 goals. And it just goes to show the quality that we have in this Japan side. And I knew, I kind of said an episode ago that it was... He's going to make it 5-6-0. That it was going to be an option to stay with Japan and manage them at the World Cup. But the World Cup isn't really our target until we conquer all of our individual continents. So we had a World Cup with England, but it just doesn't feel right to go to another World Cup. It feels like, let's go to another continent. Let's maybe go back to Africa. We got a bit of reputation there locally because of our time with Angola. Let's see if we can maybe win the African Cup of Nations, you know, managing an Ivory Coast or a Nigeria or someone like that. If we happen to come across a World Cup, then happy days. But in this case, where I've conquered the continent, I don't really see much point in just staying for a World Cup, if you get where I'm coming from. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I kind of knew what I was doing from a tactical perspective. It made sense to me in my own head. But I didn't think it was going to be this effective. You can see me there, can't you? You can see me there with my cheeky little glasses on. There we go. Konnichiwa, ladies and gents. Konnichiwa. Seki. Take a bow, son. The man, the myth, the legend. Kenichi Seki, who bangs him in, week out for West Brom. Look at that phenomenal record. Well, if there was ever going to be one game, you know, putting yourself in his shoes where you'd want to perform for your nation, for your country, if it weren't the Champions League final, the World Cup final was probably the Asian Cup final from his perspective. So, yeah. Unseating believable. Well done, boys. This is, I think, going to be great. I've just got an achievement, freedom of the country. Yeah, this is going to be great, you'd assume, for our reputation. I should have probably looked at our reputation beforehand, but I think we were at 45% reputation before winning the tournament. Or it might not kick in until the tournament is considered having ended, even though I think it's considered having ended now. So I'm going to try and do this press conference, go forward about a week or something, and then we'll take a quick look at what jobs are available, and we will then resign. And I'll do it on camera. So, yeah, be right back. Alright guys, here we go, we are back. So it does seem like it has kicked in, that the Asian Cup has ended and all that. Kenichi Seki's 5 goals for Japan against Uzbekistan has set new team and AFC Asian Cup records. Seki was also the previous Japan record holder, scoring 3 against Italy. Cool, didn't know that. And Betash Fariba scored 4 against Bangladesh in 1980. So congratulations, Seki. So I think our reputation definitely did get a boost from 45 to 50. I'd have to double check that, but I'm pretty confident that's what happened. And a nice little thing now is that we finally have a career milestone, which is 2027 Asian Cup winners. So I think when you consider that this obviously started in 2017, it's taken us 10 years, in-game years obviously, to win our first proper piece of silverware and conquer our first continent. But I think the first few years were always going to be the slowest, because to stand the biggest chance of doing it, you have to manage a big teams like Japan. And with a Sunday League reputation, we were never going to walk into the Japan job. We've worked hard, we've grinded, and we've managed to pull it off. So, on that note, that is going to be it from Japan. We resign after conquering Asia. And let's take a look at the job centre. So obviously there are a lot of jobs to do with Asia available right now, as you get after every international tournament. So it doesn't look like there's anything from other continents, but one thing we can at least do is take a look at job security and see what could potentially become available in the next few months. So the Copa America is due, it seems, so I don't exactly think we'd be able to walk into the Brazil job or someone like that, but someone like an Argentina or a Chile or a Uruguay, kind of like Uruguay, they're not exactly the top South American team, but it feels like if you have a good tournament, there's no reason why you can't do damage. A team like that, really. It just doesn't feel right to me right now to go back to Europe, and because after managing England, I don't know, I feel like our reputation has been a little bit ruined. I would like to go back to Africa or to go and manage the United States. But it seems like, generally speaking, at the moment, most of the real big jobs aren't really insecure. So with international jobs, you kind of have to wait for the big international tournaments where people bottle it. Have we just lost reputation by resigning? No, I thought we lost reputation by resigning. So our reputation is 2.5 stars. Chances are we'll be able to get a 3-star job. Yeah, so the Bosnia job will be interesting, but doesn't really feel right. I'd like the Belgium job. That would be one I would definitely go for. Yeah. There's not much point looking through these guys. So there we go. We have finally won our first piece of silverware. Asia has been defeated. And if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Where do you want me to go next? Let me know in the comments below.